When you hear the sound of the bell, you know you're in the championship rounds with King Amin of Essex. So let's get to it. Want to talk about a little bit of what happened last week. Not much action, but some things I want to point out. Pink Tyson, Kalapi Kurani out of Greece. I'm not sure if I said her name correctly, but um, she lost to a veteran with a very veteran type journeyman type record. And I'm talking about one Edith Soledad Matisse, 18, 16, and 1. She won via third round TKO. And I think there was a what was it, WBC silver on the line. So just goes to show you never judge a book by its record. Um, yeah, I forgot what division this was in. So, just something to note. But more important to note, and the division and the bout, Puerto Rican Day Parade weekend, top ranked card, Nisa Rodriguez. She fought at 166 pounds, but she should be fighting, I guess, campaigning at 160. I was thinking, is she going to fight at 154? Nonetheless, I like the tall, reminds me a lot of Savannah Marshall, minus the, technique and experience, but at the pro level, but definitely tall and rangy. And that style, I kind of favor that. You can keep a fighter at the end of your punches if you know how to throw combinations and cut off the distance and also, kind of move yourself around the ring. So I'm excited to see how her career is going to turn out. Although, yes, she's only 2-0 with two professional bouts. Um, Women's boxing does move its fighters fast depending on how they look. So she looked pretty good. Don't expect to see her in any title bouts anytime soon, but let's just keep an eye out for Nisa Rodriguez. Also, something that I missed last week, we need to pay attention to. Yokasta Valle and Coach G have parted ways. Curious about that because I'm just trying to figure out, does this mean that Valle has parted ways with Golden Boy, or does it mean that Coach G, and her just, are you know, things have ran its course. Not really sure, but I hope to find out more about that situation. So yeah, um, waiting to see what Valle is going to do next. Um, when Coach G was on the Boxing Voice, she was kind of mum on what Yoka was doing next. So maybe this is the reason why. But yeah, curious to see. Also, talking about action, recap of action from the weekend. Savannah Marshall was in her PFL MMA pro debut, and she did pretty good. Talking about tall and rangy, because I just talked about her when I mentioned Nisa Rodriguez. I think, of course, she's got to work on sprawling. People are going to go for her legs. That's what happens when you're tall. But she seemed more comfortable throwing punches in the cage. And I don't say more comfortable, but they just looked a lot more fluid. And yeah, good stuff. Now, does that mean that Claressa Shields, who was there ringside in Newcastle, does that mean that their rematch will be in the cage? I'm not sure, but I'm okay with that. I'm interested in seeing that. At this point, Shields has the advantage experience-wise, but not that far apart. And we'll really get to see the hands fly. My God. Um, that could be a very exciting proposition. All right. Um, Canada's own Jessica Camara. Word is she'll be defending her WBA Gold title relatively soon against um Bonnie Hunter, 5-3 Bonnie Hunter. This is a domestic defense that should allow Camara to, I guess, build up some notoriety and maybe draw in some opponents. This is in a lightweight division, so we'll see what happens. I think Camara also, yeah, 135. That's what she's moving at. So I'm saying I think Camara. I mentioned Camara and Dubois. I think that's a pretty good bout. We'll see how that turns out. What else we got? Oh, so Turki al-Sheik and this outfit called the Public Investment Fund, and based out of Saudi Arabia. Word is, this has been reported by the Associated Press, that they're trying to purchase all of the major boxing promotional outfits as far as Matchroom, Queensberry, Top Rank, and I forgot what's the other one that was listed. But if you can imagine, they're trying to create a more universal boxing league, and that's great. You know, some people, I saw some people up in arms thinking that this would not help or benefit women's boxing, especially with Matchroom really being out in the forefront of women's boxing. And I think the biggest concern, what people are not stating, or maybe they're stating it in just kind of like ugly or immature ways, is that the presumption is that if you have a country or a region that has its different cultural issues and how women's rights, may be different from what we're used to in the West, that somehow that's going to affect the quality of cards or the presentation of them. I got to tell you guys, I mean, Saudi money's been floating around for a while, and even in the WWE, they have a relationship that's been going on for a long time. And even though it's been relatively recent, I think they've had maybe two or three events in a row where women have competed, albeit in the required um, way. They were presented in the way that's consistent with their cultural norms. So I don't think anybody should panic. And I think you're really just talking about an infusion of revenue and resources and being able to make the purses. And I think that's what really the quote unquote Saudi money will do. I don't think just because they're involved, you have to necessarily bring every fight over to Riyadh. I don't think that's gonna happen. Hell, Terrence Crawford, Madrimov isn't in Saudi, is it? No, it's in LA. So let's not be unreasonable, people. Be more open-minded. All right. Speaking of open minds, I'm gonna open your mind to this week's action, fight week action. Pardon me, ladies and gentlemen. But we got Francesca Hennessy. She's 2-0, obviously out of the UK. Um, She is in action against Dorota Norek. Now, Norek is a pretty solid opponent. She's 7-4 with two significant losses to Stevie Levy. Stevie Levy just fought for a British Commonwealth title, didn't win, but she is a solid veteran and former IBF. I believe she was an IBF contender, or yeah, because Bridges didn't win the belt from her. Maybe she did. Former IBF champion Shannon Courtney. So yeah, pretty solid competition. And this is Hennessy. I just talked about Nisa Rodriguez, right? And Nisa Rodriguez had a great opponent. I think this I don't know, one of these opponents, I'll talk about it later because she fought Nisa Rodriguez. But yeah, suffice to say, Francesca Hennessy, they're moving her right along 3-0. So I can't wait to see her in this bout. Chloe Watson, 7-0. She's in action against Katie Radomska, flyweight. And Hennessy is a bantamweight, by the way. Watson herself is a flyweight. And the veteran Radomski's forward in Radomska rather. Um, she is 4-3 with losses to Maisie Rose Courtney and Gemma Rug. Those are her most notable losses. But I guess this is an evenly matched bout, equal experience. It's just that one fighter happens to be undefeated. This is how I like to see fighters brought along. Now, talking about how fighters are brought along and looking at their resumes evenly matched. This one on Matchroom on the undercard of the Matias Power fight. You're gonna have to tune in their newest signee, Stephanie Pinheiro Aquino, the medicine, La Medicina. She's 6-0 with 2 KOs. Her opponent, this is not going to be an easy fight at all. And I don't want to call it upset, but this is going to be a very tough fight. If Pinheiro wins this bout, she's the goods because her Aquino's or Pinheiro, I don't know which one she's going by. Her wins, her two best wins are over some solid ass veterans that have fought everybody. Like if I just started naming names like randomly, like Tiara Brown and Amanda Serra, like literally these opponents have fought these people. Um, but I think the opponent, Deanna Tapia Castro, 7-1 with 2 KOs. Um, all of her wins are over undefeated opponents. So 6 of her wins are over undefeated opponents. I think that's pretty evenly matched. I think that is, the deficit there is not having the quote unquote experienced opponent, but then she does have, an experienced opponent in that resume. Um, but yeah, this is gonna be a nice bout. Got my eye on this one. Got my eye on this one because you never know. And this is a welterweight division bout, so you never know what they could be looking to do. Maybe they could be building up this young lady, for Sandy. I don't know. This girl can't compete with Sandy. She's too early in the game. But if they want to build her up, Puerto Rico versus UK, bring Sandy over to the stateside again. I'm for it. But yeah, definitely going to be tuning into all of these bouts. And as far as I know, as far as I'm concerned, that's all that is going on in the world of women's boxing. So if you see something, say something, but especially say something in the comments, hit the thumbs up, and again, continue to spread the word, spread the gospel, the warden of women's boxing. This is my thing. This is this thing of ours. Women's boxing is boxing. And thank you guys for joining me. Peace.